So the new drawing event has been released for some time now, and it's turned the map into a desert wasteland. With 3 new locations, 47 new cosmetics, and 17 new utilities, this has been one of the largest content updates the game has seen in some time. Because there are so many additions to the game, I want to give an extensive guide for the more important aspects that you might want to look out for, and some tips on how to make the game easier while you're going through this event. I sectioned this video into different chapters to make it easier for you to go through each change of the update. First, I'll talk about the map. There are numerous new locations and features that are on this map. The lower sea level has created land bridges for travel between certain locations. There's a few of these new land bridges across the map. One of these are at Huron and Nass, Prison to Huntington, the outskirts of Beaufort to Trailer Park, outskirts of Salem to Military Encampment, this dry area under Salem Bridge, in Mackinac and Ashland. There are sandstorms that periodically sweep the whole map, which lowers everyone's vision significantly. The sandstorm lasts about 6.5 minutes. It will always occur in the middle of the day, and once it's finished, it'll proceed to be night. I feel this is one of the better additions to this update because it can lead to some interesting encounters with other players, and hopefully you're not the one with the short end of the stick. Oh, he was kidded too, no way.
You're lying.
No, I'm dead ass. I
have now on this account. That's why I'm kind of like scared.
Oh, there's a person. Oh, what the hell? There's more people. What the hell? Dude, there's 3. Dude, they almost.
Oh, no, there's one coming right behind you, bro.
What are the chances we just go in blind right here and there's like a team of 5?
No shot. Oh, I didn't mean to drop.
Also, the ambient noise for the sandstorm can sometimes be really loud if you have your volume high. And if this is a problem for you, instead of lowering your game's overall volume, which will make you less aware of noises, you can instead just go into the APOC settings and turn your ambience all the way down. So make sandstorms and other new ambience noises just completely go away. There are 3 main new locations: the Military Encampment, the Hive, and the Oasis. If you're spawning in as a freshie or need quick access to an abundance of military gear, the Military Encampment and the Hive are the 2 main locations you'd be wanting to go to, instead of the usual places like Nass or Ashland in my opinion. Regardless if it's to get gear really fast or just restock on ammo, coming here first before heading to the Oasis may be more beneficial than just going in with nothing. Military Encampment is another shipwreck combined with a cargo plane that provides new and old existing gear and cosmetics. It can be really hard to approach here if there's already enemies there, as you have little to no cover going towards it. Those who come here can easily be seen by those on the boat, even in the distance. Because it's very open, raiding this place during a sandstorm when a team is already on it may give you an advantage, as their hampered vision will make it harder to spot you. Inside the ship you can find various boxes for military gear, along with the usual military zombie. At the top you can sometimes find an Admiral zombie who can rarely drop the Admiral's laser, and a Spec Ops zombie who will drop the FAL. There can also be vehicle parts near the spot on the tents that can be very useful if needed. The Hive is a really weird butte which houses more military gear and infected. Inside is a short maze with surveyor and military zombies, and military supplies and weird growths all around. Earlier in the script I was going to say that the Hive was just really underwhelming, but recently as I went here I've been finding a lot of good gear like M249s, M14 DMRs, and even sea bags. I don't know if the spawn rates for better items is buffed here or this is just all personal experience, but going here and then swimming to Military Encampment just across from you would be the best strategy if you're looking to get meaningful gear to invade Oasis. Also, side note, while it's not announced anywhere, there's a new location outside a motel which I'll just refer to as Critter Camp. It's very small compared to the other new locations, but it can spawn the usual military gear and cosmetics. If you're looting the motel, it may be worthwhile to check back what's over here, as it has a similar type of gear as Military Encampment and the Hive. The Oasis is the most important location for this event, and the one that everyone will be going towards. It's a literal oasis in the middle of the wasteland which is home to the new militia faction. This location has spawns for all weapon types in the game, including rare weapons like the PKM and stunted AK-47, as almost all the militia-related cosmetics, and a variety of buildings to fight at. The layout in the Oasis is a lot more vertical, so combat can be very difficult, as whoever just has the higher ground can just win. It can be very easy for you to fall to your death if you don't have the athletic gear utility on hand. This makes accidental slips and jumps less impactful. Much of these areas though will always have some way for someone to peek at you. With teammates in good positioning, it's possible to kill enemies in vulnerable spots that they may not be paying attention to. It's more beneficial to come here if you have a team. While getting good guns is easy, holding the Oasis can be another challenge on its own. For the average solo player, holding the Oasis is likely just an impossible challenge, as you can't be watching all the sides for incoming players and the diminishing number of medkits in your inventory. If you're capable of holding the Oasis though, you'll need to be efficient with your healing items, as there are only a handful of areas here which should spawn medkits and boosters, but rarely do spawn the good ones. You're gonna have to be periodically refreshing the spawns here if you want a steady supply of them. Eventually, teams here will have to leave or be killed, as they'll either need to regroup with their dead teammates that aren't at Oasis, or it just simply gets boring after a while. Raiding the Oasis during night or a sandstorm can help make the fight easier, given you're able to get the jump on your enemies first. This is especially helpful for solo players where you don't really need to worry about your teammates dying and saving their loot, but many areas of the Oasis will be unchecked, and you can very easily turn a corner and die immediately to someone. The people camping here for long periods of time are more than likely will have a tank gun, which can take you out in a single headshot. So always take cover and only peek when it benefits you and not them. Without the proper utilities, sinking here is almost impossible, as the amount of zombies roaming on the ground and rooftops will immediately aggro on you the instant they see you in their sight. Having the scent utility can mitigate this and let you sneak by more effectively. Same with the padded souls, as it'll make your footsteps less noticeable for enemies while it's masked by the zombies. There's a lot of safes and weapon cases here that could spawn really good gear. Outside of this, almost every zombie here will primarily drop a 7.62 or 5.45 AK. Sometimes at any of these areas, a zombie with a FAL can also spawn. In certain locations here, there are specific weapon drops by these zombies. In the underground bar, you'll find zombies who exclusively drop the 7.62 or 5.45 AKs. On the top floor of the pink tower, you can sometimes find a pink militia zombie who drops a stunted AK and a zombie with a Makarov. In the safe here in particular, sometimes you can spawn a PKM along with other valuable weapons. On the table, you can also find very powerful weapons in this weapon case. On the roof of Umbrella Tower, an Umbrella zombie can spawn a Mosin along with other weapons instead of these crates here. At most areas in the Oasis, there'll be a rare chance for a tank gun zombie to spawn, and it's not exclusive to just one spot in the Oasis. You'll need to keep an eye out and try and explore all the areas here to maximize your chances for getting something valuable like the tank gun or a sought after cosmetic. So the utility system has been mostly redesigned and now features more utilities than just a flashlight and binocular variants. The flashlights and binocular utilities are now designated as keybinds instead of its own tool. They can be used while items are not equipped, and the flashlight can be used in the car as well. The flashlights are somewhat nerfed, as aside from the glitches, you can't unequip it to benefit from the no visual light, but also an increase to your game's brightness. The map and compass were turned into a utility. They still have the same functionality as before, but now take up utility slots. Besides these, a whopping 17 new utility items were added that grant you various benefits and abilities. I sorted them through what I believe is the least useful to most helpful. The water tablets let you restore hydration at fresh water sources, but these water sources are not stated anywhere in the game. For my own research, I found that there's only a few locations on the map which let you drink fresh water. These would be at the Crater Camp and the hot springs littered around Mackinac Island. Even with this utility, it only restores about 10 to 15 hydration, which is very unhelpful considering how long it takes to just actually drink the water you're swimming in. And drinking the hot water here at Mackinac will damage you for 2 HP every sip. In my opinion, it's just a waste of a utility slot and has a very impactful ability that needs to be updated for the better. The fuel siphon lets you take out gas from other cars if you have a fuel can in your inventory. This will mostly be used to refill your own vehicle if you aren't near a gas station, and with how little fuel you can steal in these cans, you're unlikely to actually disable someone's car and prevent them from running away as a new unique way to start a fight. If you find this, then great, you might as well just store it in your car in the rare event that you actually need gas and another car is nearby. It's more gimmicky than useful, and it's really much slower than actually normally refilling your car. The seasoning kit will reduce the negative effects of salty and spilled consumables, making these items in particular a lot more useful. This can be a useful utility, but unfortunately these are just a handful of items that are affected, and while it does negate these effects, The mess kit also has a similar mechanic where it'll just flat out reduce some of these effects to something ignorable and provides a greater bonus for every food and drink item. Not necessarily useless, but it's great if you have nothing else. The energy supplement gives a 25% decrease in the degradation of your energy bar. This is great if you're not able to find any food or you just can't hold any for the time being. It gives you a lot more time to do anything else but searching for food. Though in actuality, you'll just be finding food in almost every building you enter, unless you're just stranded somewhere barren on the map. Compared to the hydration counterpart of this item, this one has a smaller percent decrease. The electrolyte mix is the same as the energy supplement, except it gives a 33% decrease to the hydration bar. The same advice applies here, though there's really not much to say about it other than it's more useful if you have an extra slot open, or you have the water tablets to replace. The mechanics toolset gives 20% more health to vehicle parts when using any repair kit. It also has the added bonus of when you're using a tire or high quality kit, there's a 50% chance that it will not be used. Finding this while repairing your own vehicle makes it so much faster and easier to get it running, with the possibility of gambling with your tire and quality kits. As an active utility though, I would not keep this on hand at all times because you aren't really needing to repair vehicles most of the time in the game. While I rank this in the middle, you should definitely store this in your vehicle's trunk, as I'd say it's a must-have if you're repairing, as you won't need a wasted utility slot or inventory space to hold this. The grip tape gives a 20% damage increase to blunt weapons like the baton and trencher and crowbar. This turns most of the blunt weapons into 2-shot kills on enemies, and especially zombies if you crowd them up at events or hotspots that spawn dozens of them. In actual PvP though, I wouldn't use this as your main weapon, as it still leaves your opponent alive after the first hit, and if they're using a high fire rate weapon in melee range, there's a high chance you're already going to be dead and you just don't know it. Melees that benefit from this are also just a lot more slower than the time to kill of automatic weapons at the same range. In the niche situation where you're actually able to hit your enemy, then great, this can maybe close up the fight a lot faster. But it's just going to be more practical to use this as a clearing tool for zombies at events and locations like Ashland or Oasis. The mess kit gives an increase to how much energy and hydration you get from consumables. These benefits are really great, as something like the MREs and water bottle can just give you almost everything back, and lesser items becomes more like alternatives to the MRE and water bottle as well. The bonus also affects the debuffs to certain items like the rotten and salty consumables, and it's still there, but it's less impactful than it was before. If you pair this with a seasoning kit, all food items basically become mini med kits, regardless of your energy status. The sharpening stone is the bladed counterpart of the tool grip tape. It gives a 20% damage increase to the bladed melees. I'd say this is more useful for PvP than PvE. This utility is capable of turning certain melees, like almost all the knives, into 2-shot hits, but the officer's sword and the katanas stay as 2 shots. In PvP though, the swords will shred enemy HP and leave them at 1 tap if they don't have a booster. The panic your enemy will see after seeing 70 HP just gone when in melee range is just really worth it. This has the same problem as the grip tape though, because just at this range you might as well just use another fast firing weapon than this. Time to kill is probably better, and it's least likely to get you killed though compared to the grip tape. As a tip though, just remember that melees can sometimes hit through the walls. Oh, he... With multivitamins, the effects of stat boosters will last 50% longer. This will affect stamina and health boosters like the sarsaparilla, health tonic, and many other health boosters. Though oddly, as it says affects all boosters, it doesn't affect any of just the stamina boosters. They need to be tied to the health if they want to benefit from this. You'll mostly want to use this for the health booster effect, because if you just pop your booster too early, it won't really matter that much because it'll just last a lot longer in the fight. And also you have a tonic, this will basically just make everything last for 5 minutes. This is one of the better supporting combat utilities that you may want to use if you're always finding yourself using health boosters for PvP fights. The Trauma Kit gives a 20% HP boost based on the maximum heal a mech kit has. This boost also has a 40-second decay time. This is especially great as it acts like a free small health booster for every heal that you have. The extra 20% HP from the medkits will save you a lot more often than you think in fights. This is a must-have for your main utilities, which you'll be healing all the time with medkits in your fights. I don't see a reason you wouldn't want to have a free health booster every time you use your military medkit. The hunting spray gives you a moderate reduction to the zombie spotting distance. This utility makes sneaking around infested locations like Ashland and Oasis so much easier without needing to startle every zombie and kill them. I find this more effective against lesser zombies, and not so much against like the mini bosses and regular boss zombies that spawn at events. They just have such high range to see you that the spray doesn't really do much against them. If you're tired of having to fight a bunch of zombies while chasing someone or trying to play stealthy, this is a must-have. The athletic gear will slightly reduce your fall damage and slightly increase your jump height. If you're tired of having to heal less and have your HP at Oasis, then this is a must-have. The increase in jump height also makes difficult jumps like this on Ashland Bridge and this at Oasis just so much easier. Pad of Souls significantly reduce your footstep sounds, and it has a greater effect when crouching. This basically makes your footsteps too hard to hear for enemies, especially since audio cues on Roblox are sometimes just don't want to work as intended. I personally like to use these for the stealth benefit, which makes approaching enemy teams easier. It's also better when synergized with the hunting spray, so zombies won't get aggressive with you, and they'll further drown out your footsteps when sneaking if the enemy can hear them at all. The LMG belt loader increases the ammo transfer rate with machine gun boxes by 25%. This is a must for LMG users, as the ammo transfer is just notorious for being so slow. Also, I want to note that this affects the ammo transfer with anything if it involves the LMG boxes. For example, you can transfer ammo from an M2 for 9 box to a 5.56 magazine or an ammo bag, and it'll have the increased speed. So the rifle magazine tool is the rifle counterpart to the LMG belt loader. It gives a 25% increase to the ammo transfer rate with rifle max. I rank this higher because there are just way more rifle weapons in the game than LMGs, and more weapons just benefit from this than the belt loader. The same tip from earlier also applies here. You can just quickly transfer ammo to anything as long as it involves a rifle magazine. The gun cleaning kit increases your gun's accuracy, and they are less likely to have a muzzle flash and sustained fire. The accuracy bonus is the primary advantage with this utility, and with how rare it is, it's unlikely you'll be able to benefit from the muzzle flash part from this anyways, because you'll just be geared with attachments like the suppressor to stop the muzzle flash anyways. If you pair this with the grip attachment, you can also probably turn your gun into a laser. I say probably because it doesn't give you an exact percentage or value to how much this increases your accuracy, nor the chance with the muzzle flash disappearing. In any case, more accuracy is better. Your gun is going to be what you're using in almost all your fights, which makes this one of the most used and valuable utilities in your inventory. This Tusken Raider looking zombie will drop the tank gun. It's a very powerful World War I anti-tank rifle that's able to one-shot to the head at long range.
Oh yeah, good shit.
But to compensate, it has very specific stats that limit its usage. It primarily spawns at Oasis, but this zombie can be found at militia events around the map. Oh, this guy had a tank gun. The tank gun can't be carried in your inventory no matter what you do. The only way you can possibly store this is inside of a car if it has enough capacity. ADSing is practically the only way to use this weapon, as hipfire accuracy is apparently non-existent if your target is more than 10 studs away from you. Even though it says that the hipfire just doesn't exist, you are still capable of killing people with hipfire if they are just right in your face. The bullet velocity is somewhat slower compared to other primaries, and you'll need to lead your shots with this at mid to higher ranges to continue using its one-shot potential. When you reload this weapon, it'll force you to stop sprinting and make you 50% slower. The reload duration is really long, and it can leave you open for a long time. One quirk I found with this weapon is that you're able to reload cancel with this weapon. To do this, you'll need a time when the reload is done. When you hear your character put the bullet in the chamber, immediately unequip it and then re-equip so that you can bypass this long reload by a few seconds.
We got another.
One of the positive mechanics with this weapon is that it could deal 400% more damage to vehicles. I found this advantage to be just barely noticeable and impractical to disable vehicles. Shooting engines doesn't get it that low, and it takes a couple shots to actually take down a car. Shooting tires won't instantly pop them to red either. The HP of vehicle components are affected, but it's just so high that it just can't flat out stop a car in its tracks. Even the glass of the car can block the tank bullets for the driver and its passengers. There's just no penetration with the bullets, and it won't take out anyone if the glass is still there. Generally, using the tank gun to disable a vehicle instead of shooting the enemies inside it isn't going to be as effective as just spraying them down with any of the assault weapons that you may already have. The ammo is stored in these pouches that take up 4 spaces in your inventory. Collecting the ammo is very slow, even with the rifle loader utility. These pouches only store about 20 bullets each, so if you're really using this weapon as the only primary, I recommend that you grab 2 of these pouches and leave room for your backup weapon, secondary, and other gear. It should also definitely have an automatic secondary paired with this, like the MP5K, MAC-10, Tech-9, Stunted AK, which will just compensate for the tank gun just being unreliable at close range. The pros of this weapon does somewhat outweigh its cons, like its one-shot headshot capability. You can instantly take out one person from a fight even before it starts if you get the headshot on them, leaving the rest of the enemy team in chaos. Even if you don't get the headshot and you hit their torso instead, it still does very high damage, making it an excellent weapon to peel for teammates so then they can get the kill instead. Nice, good job.
There's one
That's
more.
actually really fast kill. What the fuck? Getting these headshots are just so satisfying, and it's sure to make your target just really pissed off and global if you played it just right. Oh, never mind. I got him.
Say GG.
I like how fast he typed that thing.
Even so fast he spelled it wrong. Like,
What you'll need to really look out for is the absence of a scope for this weapon. It's the literal embodiment of high skill, high reward. Really, a lot of what this weapon boils down to is just you're being skill checked. You have no optic, it has slow bullet speed, and you need to hit headshots at range for it to be at its best. So if you're playing against this, there's still a lot of things that you can do to counter its overall usage. You should be aware of your surroundings, so then you don't get headshot by this. If you know or you're concerned about being headshot by this weapon, you can take a military booster or a tonic to negate its one-shot ability, though it'll leave you very weak, and if the sniper has a teammate, they'll easily take you out. Alternatively, you can just get yourself to cover with tall vehicles or actually go into a building, so it makes it even harder to get headshotted. If you get into an enclosed area like a building or an underground area, the tank gun's entire usage just becomes pointless and other weapons are needed. Sometimes it'll be easier to fight in close combat with any other weapon in the game than having a sniper fight with a gun that'll kill you in one hit. You should take advantage of its one bullet capacity and its reload duration. If the user doesn't know how to line up their shots, and they don't know about the tip from earlier about reload cancelling, you can start making moves on their teammates or them while they're forced to reload or re-equip to their actual primary. If they're not able to line up their shots most of the time, sometimes even counter-sniping is enough to deter them from peeking a bit. If you're approaching a team that you know has a tank gun, having priority on that user first is probably way more beneficial for you than taking out anyone else first. Taking them out and tipping the fight in your favor is what could get you the win. If you're using a car, make sure its body, tires, and glass are fully repaired. This will mitigate possible damage to your car and prevent the team from being one-shot by the tank gun with the glass. There's a lot of general spawns for these cosmetics, so I'll just go rapid fire about where to find all these. You can find the new Air Force cosmetics at a few locations with the cargo planes like Military Encampment, Regional Airport, and Naval Air Station. These are rare drops, but luckily they will spawn in small groups, so you have better chances of having something drop each time if you enter, kill them, and then leave and come back a few minutes later. For the Desert Military cosmetics, you can find these at Military Encampment, the Hive, and Crater Lake. They can also be found at new Desert Military events scattered throughout the map. These special desert events can occur in dried out areas like under the bridges at Ashland and Salem, or on the land bridges like mentioned before. Around the Oasis, you'll find an abundance of these special glowing chests that give you pieces of the tan ghillie. In most servers I've been in, they aren't really that rare, and with enough time looking around, you can find all these ghillie parts within a few minutes or hours if you aren't able to live in Oasis for long periods of time. This is the same with most of the MILITIA cosmetics. In a few trips here, you can easily unlock half of the new cosmetics. There are just some particular zombies here that are a little more rare, but you need to want to look out for, so they'll drop their unique cosmetics. This zombie in the pink building will drop its pink outfit parts along with its stunted AK. The tank gun zombie will drop his Tuscan Raider looking mask and outfit pieces. The foul zombie will sometimes drop its plate carrier and outfit pieces. In the underground bar, the zombies here can sometimes drop cactus outfit pieces. On the Mosin Tower, this zombie can drop an umbrella hat. Any other zombie will have its cosmetics commonly spawn, which won't be hard for you to farm them. They literally spawn everywhere in the Oasis. Some of these militia infected do also spawn in events outside of the Oasis with its usual cosmetics. There's also one special outfit that does not spawn in the Oasis whatsoever and can only be found through a rare event scattered throughout the map. This white militia zombie will spawn next to an ATV and will drop his alternate Tuscan Raider mask and white outfit pieces.
See what he drops.
Oh, he dropped the hood and the carrier, nice. An added bonus besides the ATV loot is that the zombie will always spawn with an AUG plus food and water. In some new or existing locations, you may even find new desert or derelict variants of military vehicles, like the derelict military transport, Humvee, and army pickup.
With more exposure, yes, that's fun.
Oh, just duck, bro. I don't know what you're doing. Or a desert Humvee and army pickup. Can I dow, please? Hello? Oh, nice. They only look different and don't sport any unique stats or mechanics to them, despite what seems to be more extra plating on them. That's all I found important for the drying event. There are still lesser update notes that I didn't really mention here, and there's also a lot of hidden hotfixes being made every so often that changes some aspects of the event which aren't ever mentioned. If you found something noteworthy from the event that I didn't mention, like a utility or cosmetic spawn, feel free to comment about it below. I should have new videos coming out later for Apocalypse Rising, so stay tuned.